There's something about silence that makes us uncomfortable. We fill our lives with noise, distractions, conversations, notifications, because silence forces us to confront something we often avoid, ourselves. But what if silence isn't something to fear? What if silence is the moment where change truly begins? We all carry things, mistakes, regrets, past identities that we refuse to put down. We grip them tightly, convincing ourselves that holding on gives us control. But here's the truth. The tighter we hold on to the past, the less room we have for the future. Letting go is not losing. Letting go is making space. Some of the greatest transformations don't start with a grand announcement. They don't come with applause. They begin in quiet decisions. The moment you sit with yourself and say, I am not my past. I am not my mistakes. I am not stuck. That is the moment of power. Because starting over is not a sign of failure. It's a declaration of possibility. We hesitate to begin again because we think we need the perfect timing, the perfect plan, the perfect confidence. But what if I told you that the greatest leaders, innovators, and dreamers didn't wait for perfect conditions? They stepped forward in uncertainty. They chose growth over comfort. So today, I challenge you to embrace the silence. Sit with it. Ask yourself, what am I holding on to that no longer serves me? What is keeping me from moving forward? And then, without fanfare, without hesitation, let it go. Let go in silence and step into something new, because your next chapter is waiting. And it starts the moment you decide. Silence is often misunderstood. We tend to associate it with absence of noise, absence of action, absence of progress. But in reality, silence is not empty. It is full of insight, full of truth, and full of opportunity. It is in moments of quiet that we hear what truly matters. In the constant rush of life, we are surrounded by distractions, external voices, and pressures that drown out our own thoughts. We react, we respond, we move from one thing to another, barely pausing to understand the deeper meaning behind our actions. Silence, however, forces us to stop. It invites us to reflect, to observe, to listen. Not just to the world around us, but to ourselves. In silence, we gain clarity. It allows us to separate what is urgent from what is important. It gives us the space to ask better questions. Why am I holding on to this? What am I afraid of? What do I really want? These questions don't always have immediate answers, but silence gives them room to exist. And in that space, we begin to see things differently. Silence also teaches patience. We live in a world that values speed, instant gratification, immediate responses, quick success. But real growth doesn't happen in a rush. It happens in the pauses, in the moments of discomfort when we resist the urge to fill the space with noise. It is in silence that we learn to sit with uncertainty, to trust the process, to allow transformation to unfold naturally rather than forcing it into existence. It is in silence that we become stronger, not because we have all the answers, but because we develop the courage to face the ones we have been avoiding. It teaches us resilience, not through words, but through experience. It strips away the excess and reveals what truly matters. Silence is not weakness. It is not avoidance. It is a teacher, one that doesn't demand attention, but offers wisdom to those willing to listen. Letting go is one of the hardest things we are asked to do in life, not because we lack the ability, but because we fear what it means. We associate letting go with failure, with giving up, with losing something that once mattered. We convince ourselves that holding on is a sign of strength, that perseverance is always the answer. But what if holding on is what's actually keeping us stuck? What if letting go is not about losing, but about making space for something better? We often build identities around the things we refuse to release: past successes, old relationships, outdated beliefs, familiar routines. These things become part of who we are, and the idea of walking away from them feels like abandoning a piece of ourselves. But growth requires movement. When we cling too tightly to what was, we close ourselves off to what could be. Letting go does not erase the past. It does not mean that what we had or who we were no longer matters. It simply means we recognize that the past has served its purpose. A chapter can be meaningful and still need to end. A relationship can have been valuable and still not belong in our future. A dream we once pursued can have shaped us, even if we now realize it is no longer ours to chase. The fear of letting go is often the fear of uncertainty. When we release something, we step into the unknown, and the unknown is uncomfortable. We tell ourselves, what if I regret this? What if I never find something better? What if this is as good as it gets? But what if we are asking the wrong questions? Instead of fearing what we might lose, what if we focused on what we might gain? What if the act of letting go is what finally makes room for what we have been searching for all along? Letting go is not losing, it is not an ending, it is a transition. It is a conscious choice to move forward, to trust that we are not defined by what we leave behind, but by the direction we choose to go next. It is easy to believe that we are the sum of our experiences, that what happens to us, our struggles, our setbacks, our successes, defines who we are. But there is a critical difference between identity and circumstance. Circumstances are external, they change, shift, and evolve. Identity, however, is internal. It is not dictated by what happens to us, but by how we respond, how we grow, and what we choose to become. When we tie our identity too closely to our circumstances, we risk losing ourselves when those circumstances change. If we define ourselves by a job, what happens when that job is taken away? If we define ourselves by a relationship, what happens when that relationship ends? If we define ourselves by our past mistakes, what happens when we are given an opportunity to change? Circumstances are temporary, but identity is something we build over time. Challenges often test this distinction. When we face adversity, it can feel like our entire sense of self is being shaken. The weight of failure, loss, or disappointment can be overwhelming, making us question whether we are still capable, worthy, or strong. But adversity is not an identity. A failure does not make us failures. A difficult season does not mean we are doomed to struggle forever. The most resilient people understand that hardship is a circumstance, not a definition. They do not allow setbacks to rewrite their self-worth. Instead, they use those experiences as fuel to shape who they become. The same is true for success. If we base our identity on achievement alone, we become trapped by the need to constantly prove ourselves. When success is no longer present, we might feel lost, as if we no longer have value. True identity is not built on wins or losses. It is built on character, on values, on the deeper sense of who we are when everything else is stripped away. Recognizing the difference between identity and circumstance allows us to navigate life with greater clarity. It frees us from the fear of change and the pressure of external validation. It reminds us that we are not what happens to us. We are how we rise, how we grow, and how we move forward despite it all. Perspective shapes everything. It influences how we interpret experiences, how we react to challenges, and ultimately how we move forward in life. Two people can go through the exact same situation and come out with entirely different understandings. Not because the circumstances were different, but because their perspectives were. The way we choose to see things determines whether we feel stuck or empowered, whether we see obstacles or opportunities, whether we believe we are victims of life or active participants in shaping our future. When we are faced with difficulty, our instinct is often to focus on what is wrong. We fixate on what we have lost, what isn't working, and what feels unfair. It's human nature to do this, because our minds are wired for survival. We look for threats, we assess risks, and we try to protect ourselves from pain. But the problem with this kind of thinking is that it narrows our vision. It keeps us looking at what is broken instead of what can be built. It makes us focus on limitations rather than possibilities. Shifting perspective does not mean ignoring reality. It does not mean pretending that challenges do not exist or forcing a false sense of positivity. Instead, it is about choosing to see situations from a different angle. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? We can ask, what is this trying to teach me? Instead of seeing failure as a dead end, we can see it as a redirection. Instead of believing that struggle is a sign to quit, we can recognize it as proof that we are pushing beyond our comfort zone. Some of the most successful people in history were not the ones who had the easiest path. They were the ones who learned how to shift their perspective when things got difficult. They were the ones who saw setbacks as stepping stones, who viewed criticism as feedback, and who understood that uncertainty is not a reason to stop, it is a reason to adapt. The ability to reframe a situation is one of the most powerful tools we have, because when we change how we see something, we change how we respond to it. A perspective shift is a choice. It is a skill that can be practiced, strengthened, and applied in every area of life. And the more we use it, the more we realize that we are never truly stuck. We just need to start looking at things differently. Starting over is not easy. It requires a kind of courage that many people avoid because it means stepping into the unknown. There is comfort in the familiar, even when the familiar no longer serves us. We stay in situations that drain us, hold on to identities that no longer fit, and resist change even when we know deep down that we need it. The idea of resetting, of wiping the slate clean and beginning again can feel overwhelming. It can feel like admitting that what we've built, invested in, or believed in is no longer working. But the truth is, courage is not about clinging to what is safe. Courage is about recognizing when it is time to pivot and having the strength to do it. Fear often keeps us from resetting. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of uncertainty. We ask ourselves, what if I make the wrong choice? What if I regret this? What if I'm not capable of building something new? These fears keep us trapped in cycles of hesitation, convincing us that staying put is better than risking the unknown. But fear and growth cannot exist in the same space. Growth requires us to be uncomfortable, to embrace the risk of failure, and to trust that even if we don't have all the answers now, we are capable of figuring them out along the way. Courage to reset does not mean we erase our past. It does not mean that everything before this moment was a mistake. Instead, it means that we acknowledge where we are, recognize what is no longer working, and give ourselves permission to begin again. Some of the most successful reinventions in life, whether in careers, relationships, or personal growth, happen because someone was willing to reset instead of staying stuck. There is no perfect time to start over. There is no roadmap that guarantees success. But courage is not about certainty. It is about trust. Trusting that we are capable of rebuilding, that we are allowed to evolve, and that choosing a new path is not a sign of weakness. It is one of the bravest things we can do. We often tell ourselves that we will take action when the timing is right. We wait for the perfect moment to make a change, to pursue a dream, to have a difficult conversation, to start something new. The idea of perfect timing gives us comfort because it allows us to postpone action. It lets us believe that when the conditions are just right, when we have more experience, more money, more confidence, more certainty, then we will finally be ready. But the truth is, perfect timing is a myth. It doesn't exist. There will never be a moment when everything aligns perfectly, when fear completely disappears, and when the path ahead is free of uncertainty. Waiting for perfect timing is often disguised as preparation, but in reality, it is fear in another form. It is the fear of failure, the fear of discomfort, the fear of stepping into the unknown. We convince ourselves that we are being responsible by waiting, that we are making a logical choice by delaying action, but what we are really doing is avoiding the discomfort of starting. And the longer we wait, the more reasons we find to keep waiting. The mind is excellent at rationalizing inaction, at convincing us that one more year, one more degree, one more paycheck will somehow make the process easier. But the longer we wait, the harder it becomes. Some of the most successful and fulfilled people in the world did not start when they felt fully ready. They started when they were uncertain. They started when they had doubts. They started when they didn't have all the answers. What separated them was not perfect timing, but the decision to act despite imperfection. They understood that clarity comes from action, not from waiting. Growth comes from doing, not from endlessly preparing. Every major change, every bold decision, every new beginning comes with risk. There will always be unknowns, there will always be moments of doubt, but the people who move forward are the ones who recognize that waiting for the perfect time is just another way of standing still. The best time to start is not when everything is perfect. The best time to start is when you decide to. Strength is often misunderstood. We tend to associate it with loudness, assertion, dominance, and the ability to command attention. Society praises those who speak the loudest, take up the most space, and impose their presence on others. But real strength is not about volume. It is not about how much noise we make or how visible we are. Some of the strongest people in the world move quietly, with resilience that does not demand recognition. Their strength is not measured by how loud they fight, but by how deeply they endure, how steadily they persist, and how gracefully they rise after falling. Silent strength is the ability to remain calm in chaos, to hold composure when everything around is uncertain, and to trust in oneself without needing validation from others. It is the person who chooses to keep going despite setbacks, who doesn't need to announce every effort but lets their actions speak for themselves. It is the ability to listen before reacting, to observe before making a decision, and to recognize that true power often comes from patience rather than force. There's great discipline in silent strength. It requires control, to resist the impulse to react out of anger, to avoid the need to prove oneself to everyone, to have confidence in one's path without seeking constant approval. The loudest person in the room is not always the most powerful. True strength is not about proving anything to others. It is about knowing who you are and standing firm in that knowledge. Silent strength is also the ability to carry burdens without letting them define you. It is the quiet endurance of someone who continues despite doubt, who grows in the face of adversity without needing applause. It is the recognition that strength does not need to be seen to be real. Some of the most powerful transformations happen in silence, in the moments when no one is watching, in the choices made without external validation. Strength is not always in the battle. Sometimes it is in the stillness, It is in the ability to walk away when necessary, to choose growth over ego, to let go of what no longer serves us without making a spectacle of it. Silent strength is not about being passive, it is about being intentional, knowing that real power is not about how much noise you make, but about the impact you leave behind. Growth is not just about adding more knowledge, more achievements, more responsibilities. It is just as much about making space, about clearing away what no longer serves us so that something new can take root. We often think that to grow, we need to keep pushing, to keep filling our time, to keep adding layers to our identity. But true growth cannot happen in a crowded, cluttered space. It requires room to breathe, to expand, to evolve. One of the biggest barriers to growth is holding on to too much. We cling to old habits, outdated beliefs, relationships that have run their course, or expectations that no longer fit who we are becoming. We tell ourselves that we can carry it all, that we can move forward without letting go. But just like a plant cannot thrive in soil that is overcrowded, we cannot fully step into new possibilities while being weighed down by the past. Growth requires us to release, to make space for something better, even when we do not yet know what that better looks like. Space also allows for reflection. When we are constantly in motion, constantly filling our schedules, constantly chasing the next thing, we leave no time to truly understand ourselves. Growth is not just about moving forward, it is about moving forward with intention. Without space, we risk growing in the wrong direction, chasing goals that are not truly ours, or filling our lives with things that look like progress but feel empty. There is discomfort in creating space. It often means stepping away from the familiar, sitting in uncertainty, and resisting the urge to fill the void too quickly. But space is not emptiness, it is possibility. It is where creativity thrives, where new ideas emerge, where transformation happens. The most meaningful growth does not happen by force. It happens when we give ourselves the space to step back, reassess, and make room for what truly matters. A new beginning is not just a change in circumstances, it is a shift in mindset. We often think that starting over means moving to a new place, finding a new job, or stepping into a new relationship. But no matter how much we change on the outside, if our mindset remains the same, we will find ourselves repeating old patterns. Growth is not just about external transformation. It starts with the way we think, the way we see ourselves, and the way we approach the opportunities ahead. Then a quote from It Wise and says, "A new mindset means releasing the limitations we have placed on ourselves. It means questioning the stories we have told ourselves about what we can and cannot do. Often we carry beliefs from past failures, fears from past experiences, and doubts that have been reinforced over time. If we step into a new beginning with the same fears, the same doubts, and the same self-imposed barriers, we are not truly starting fresh. We are just moving our old struggles into a new environment. To truly embrace a new beginning, we must also embrace a new way of thinking. We must replace fear with curiosity, doubt with trust, and hesitation with action. A new mindset does not mean ignoring challenges or pretending that uncertainty does not exist. It means choosing to see difficulties as opportunities to grow rather than as reasons to stop. It means understanding that failure is not a dead end but a lesson, that discomfort is not a signal to retreat but a sign of progress. New beginnings require us to be open to new ideas, to different perspectives, to ways of doing things that may be unfamiliar or uncomfortable. They require us to step outside of the safety of what we know and trust that we are capable of adapting, learning, and evolving. The most successful reinventions do not happen just because someone changed their circumstances. They happen because someone changed the way they saw themselves and what was possible for them. A fresh start is more than just a moment, it is a mindset. And the most powerful new beginnings happen when we choose not only to change where we are, but to change how we think, how we believe, and how we approach the future ahead. In a world that often values instant results and quick fixes, the long game can feel like a foreign concept. We are conditioned to expect fast rewards, to chase after immediate success, to seek out shortcuts. The rise of social media and the rapid pace of information has only reinforced this desire for speed. Yet the most lasting success, whether in business, relationships, or personal growth, rarely comes from quick wins. It comes from steady, consistent effort, from the willingness to play the long game. The long game requires patience, and patience is something that is hard to cultivate in a world that demands urgency. When we're focused on the end goal, it's easy to become discouraged when results don't come as quickly as we expect. But the long game teaches us that progress is not always linear, There will be setbacks, failures, and periods where it feels like nothing is happening. The difference between those who win the long game and those who burn out is the ability to stay committed, to keep putting one foot in front of the other, even when the finish line seems distant. In the long game, success is not defined by a single moment, but by the accumulation of small, deliberate actions over time. It's about showing up day after day, even when there is no immediate reward. It's about developing habits that align with your vision, staying consistent even when motivation wanes, and trusting the process even when results aren't visible. Those who win the long game understand that every choice, every action, every step, no matter how small, contributes to the larger picture. The long game also teaches us the importance of resilience. When things don't happen as quickly as we'd like, it's easy to question whether it's worth continuing. The temptation to abandon the process for a more immediate fix is strong. But true growth is not immediate. It is slow, it is steady, and it builds over time. People who succeed in the long game are those who understand that persistence is key, that even the smallest effort, compounded over time, leads to extraordinary results. Those who play the long game are also prepared to adapt. Success rarely comes in the exact way we envision it. The ability to evolve, to adjust when things aren't working, and to learn from setbacks is a hallmark of long-term success. The long game requires flexibility, the willingness to course correct, and the ability to see failure as part of the process, not as the end of the road. The long game is not about rushing toward the finish line. It is about building a sustainable path forward. It is about creating something that lasts, something meaningful, something that has substance beyond fleeting moments of success. It's about understanding that the most rewarding achievements are the ones that stand the test of time. The long game may not always be the easiest, but it is the one that pays off in the end. Consistency over time is one of the most powerful principles for achieving success. It is not about making huge leaps in a short period, but about showing up day after day, no matter how small the steps seem. In the fast-paced world we live in, it is easy to get distracted by the allure of overnight success or immediate results. However, real, lasting growth rarely happens in such bursts. It is the small, consistent actions performed regularly that compound and create meaningful change over time. When we focus on consistency, we start to break down the overwhelming task of achieving big goals into manageable pieces. Instead of focusing on the enormity of the end result, we focus on what we can do today. This shift in mindset allows us to build momentum without feeling discouraged by the distance between where we are and where we want to be. Each day of consistent effort adds a little more to our foundation, making the path to success more attainable. One of the benefits of consistency is that it builds discipline. It is easy to start something new when we feel motivated, but motivation ebbs and flows. Consistency does not depend on how we feel, it relies on commitment. It is the practice of doing what needs to be done, even when motivation is low or external circumstances are challenging. The more we stick to our routines, the stronger our self-discipline becomes, and over time, this discipline transforms into results. In addition to discipline, consistency also creates trust, both self-trust and trust from others. When we show up consistently, we prove to ourselves that we can rely on our own efforts. We begin to trust that even on the days when it feels like nothing is changing, our efforts are still making a difference. Similarly, others begin to trust us, whether in business, relationships, or personal endeavors. Consistency signals reliability, and that reliability builds a reputation of dependability and commitment. Over time, consistency becomes a cycle that propels us forward. The more we see progress, even in small increments, the more motivated we become to continue. It also allows us to learn from our mistakes, adjust our approach, and refine our process. Each consistent action, each day of showing up is an opportunity to get better, to improve, and to grow. The power of consistency is that it doesn't require perfection. We don't have to be flawless in our efforts to see results. It's the act of continuing, despite imperfection or setbacks, that is key. Real growth happens when we persist through challenges, when we continue to put in the work even when we don't see immediate rewards. Over time, these consistent efforts start to stack up and create the success we've been working toward. Delayed gratification is the ability to resist the temptation for an immediate reward in favor of a larger, more meaningful goal that will be achieved later. It is the conscious decision to put off short-term pleasures or rewards for the sake of long-term success and personal growth. In a world that thrives on instant access, instant gratification is all around us, from fast food to on-demand entertainment, making the practice of delayed gratification feel more challenging than ever. Yet, it is one of the most important traits that can determine whether we ultimately succeed in our personal and professional lives. The challenge of delayed gratification lies in our inherent desire for immediate satisfaction. Human nature tends to favor the comfort of the present over the promise of the future. When we can choose between a small pleasure now or a greater reward later, it's easy to give in to the allure of the immediate benefit. However, the reality is that the most fulfilling and sustainable successes rarely come in the form of quick wins. They require sacrifice, patience, and discipline. Choosing delayed gratification often means saying no to things that seem appealing in the moment but do not align with our larger goals. It may mean passing on a night out to work on a personal project, holding off on a purchase in order to save for something important, or enduring a challenging situation because the long-term benefits outweigh the short-term discomfort. The key to mastering delayed gratification is understanding that these sacrifices are investments in a future that is far more meaningful than any quick pleasure. People who practice delayed gratification tend to make decisions that are more aligned with their values and long-term vision. They can see beyond the temporary satisfaction of the moment and instead focus on what is truly important to them. It's the person who chooses to study for a degree while working a part-time job, the athlete who pushes through months of intense training for the chance to compete at the highest level, or the entrepreneur who works tirelessly to build a business that will provide value for years to come. They understand that immediate rewards are fleeting, but the satisfaction that comes from achieving something great after hard work is lasting and fulfilling. Delayed gratification also plays a significant role in resilience. It teaches us that setbacks are not permanent, that discomfort is part of the journey, and that persistence is key. In a culture that often rewards instant results, it's easy to be discouraged when progress is slow. But those who practice delayed gratification understand that growth takes time, and they are willing to endure the struggles along the way because they are focused on the bigger picture. This mindset also impacts how we handle money, health, relationships, and personal growth. In all these areas, the ability to delay gratification leads to greater financial security, better physical health, stronger relationships, and deeper emotional fulfillment. The most successful people know that the reward at the end of the journey is worth more than the fleeting moments of pleasure along the way. By embracing the power of delayed gratification, we open ourselves up to a future of deeper satisfaction and achievement. Patience is often seen as a passive trait, something that means waiting without complaint, enduring without action. However, in reality, patience is a form of power. It is the ability to endure, to wait, to stay the course, and to trust the process even when the results are not immediately visible. In a world that celebrates speed and demands instant results, patience is a quiet strength that is often undervalued. Yet those who practice it understand that true power lies not in rushing to the finish line, but in knowing that the path, however long it may be, is part of the journey. Patience requires us to accept uncertainty. It asks us to remain steady when we don't know when, how, or if things will turn out the way we want. It is the ability to trust that even when the results are not apparent, the work we are doing now is building something important for the future. There is wisdom in recognizing that things take time to unfold, and that rushing the process often leads to missteps, mistakes, or burnout. By practicing patience, we are choosing to stay grounded and present rather than being driven by fear or the desire to control every outcome. In many ways, patience is a counterbalance to impulsivity. It teaches us to pause before reacting, to reflect before making decisions, and to allow situations to develop naturally. This does not mean being passive or inactive, but rather being deliberate in our actions. Patience encourages us to focus on what we can control, the effort we put in, the mindset we adopt, and the consistency with which we show up. It reminds us that not everything can be rushed, and that some of the most worthwhile things in life take time to build. People who cultivate patience are not those who lack ambition or drive. Rather, they understand the difference between rushing toward a goal and pursuing it with a sense of calm determination. They know that success is rarely immediate and that the process of getting there is just as important as the destination itself. The patience to keep moving forward, even when the road is difficult, allows them to build resilience, character, and depth. They are able to persevere through challenges, setbacks, and delays without losing sight of their end goal. Patience also nurtures wisdom. As we wait for results, we learn to assess, adapt, and adjust our approaches. We become more attuned to the process, understanding that every step, no matter how small, contributes to the bigger picture. Patience enables us to learn from our mistakes without rushing to fix everything, giving us the time and space to grow through our experiences. In relationships, patience is particularly powerful. It allows us to be present for others without expectation, to listen without rushing to offer solutions, and to allow people the time and space to evolve at their own pace. It fosters deeper understanding and empathy, creating stronger connections that are rooted in trust and acceptance. In business, in personal growth, and in life, patience allows us to build things that last. It is the recognition that progress is not always linear and that sometimes the most important thing we can do is to trust in the process and allow time to work its magic. While quick wins can be satisfying, they are often fleeting. True success, whether in our careers, health, or relationships, is built on the foundation of patience. This is business. Sally Wanzian. It's the ability to stay committed to the long-term vision, to work through the hard times, and to trust that in the end, the things that take time are often the ones that are the most worthwhile. In a world that often prizes big, dramatic achievements, it's easy to overlook the power of small wins. We tend to focus on the grand finale, the moment when everything falls into place, when the hard work finally pays off. But what if the key to lasting success isn't in the huge leaps, but in the small steps we take every day? Small wins, though they may seem insignificant in the moment, are the building blocks of bigger, more impactful results. Each small win is a step forward, a small victory that moves us closer to our goals. These incremental successes compound over time, creating a momentum that propels us forward. When we focus on making consistent progress, even if it's just a little bit at a time, we create a foundation for greater achievements. It's easy to get caught up in the desire for immediate, large results, but the reality is that most major successes are the culmination of countless small actions taken over time. Small wins also provide a sense of accomplishment that fuels motivation. When we accomplish something, no matter how small, we build confidence and reinforce the belief that we are capable of more. These wins remind us that progress is happening, even if it's not always immediately visible. Over time, the accumulation of small wins helps us build a sense of forward motion, even when the finish line feels far away. Another powerful aspect of small wins is that they encourage consistency. It's easier to stay committed when we focus on the next small step rather than the overwhelming big picture. Breaking down larger goals into smaller, achievable tasks makes the journey feel more manageable. When we accomplish small wins consistently, we reinforce the habit of doing the work, no matter how small it may seem. This consistency is what separates those who ultimately succeed from those who give up too soon. Small wins also provide an opportunity for learning and improvement. Each step we take gives us a chance to adjust, reflect, and refine our approach. When we experience a small win, it's not just about the outcome, it's also about the process. We gain insights into what works, what doesn't, and what we can do better. This continuous cycle of small wins and adjustments allows us to improve over time, building not only results, but skills and wisdom. Small wins help us develop resilience. The journey toward any meaningful goal is rarely smooth, and there will be times when setbacks occur. However, the habit of celebrating small victories can help us stay focused on the positives, even when things aren't going as planned. Small wins act as reminders that progress is still being made, even in the face of challenges. In relationships, in careers, in health, and in personal growth, small wins are often the most sustainable and meaningful. A single gesture of kindness, a short workout, a thoughtful conversation. Each small action adds up, creating a larger, more significant impact over time. Big, life-changing moments don't always happen overnight. Instead, they result from the accumulation of the everyday actions and decisions that we make consistently. By recognizing the power of small wins, we not only make steady progress toward our goals, but also create a deeper sense of fulfillment and purpose in the process. Resilience is not simply about bouncing back from adversity. It's about how we respond when things don't go as planned, when obstacles arise, or when we experience setbacks. Setbacks are an inevitable part of life, no matter how prepared we are or how diligently we plan. The difference between those who keep moving forward and those who falter often comes down to resilience. The capacity to adapt, recover, and maintain the pursuit of our goals, even when things aren't going our way. In the face of setbacks, many of us feel disheartened or discouraged. It's natural to want to retreat, to give up, or to feel as though the effort wasn't worth it. The immediate reaction to a setback is often frustration or doubt. But resilience is what allows us to push through those feelings and continue our journey. Resilient people understand that setbacks are a natural part of any growth process. They see obstacles not as signs to quit, but as opportunities to learn, adapt, and become stronger. One key aspect of resilience is the ability to reframe setbacks. Instead of seeing failure as a permanent condition, resilient individuals view it as a temporary setback that can teach valuable lessons. Each failure or challenge provides information that can help refine strategies, improve decision-making, and adjust expectations. By shifting our perspective on setbacks, we remove the emotional charge that makes them feel like roadblocks and instead embrace them as part of the learning process. Resilience also involves emotional regulation, the ability to manage negative emotions that arise in the wake of failure. It's easy to become overwhelmed by frustration, fear, or disappointment, but resilience allows us to process those emotions without letting them dictate our actions. Instead of letting emotions take control, resilient individuals use their emotions as signals to assess the situation, refocus their efforts, and make informed decisions. By staying calm in the face of adversity, we maintain clarity and avoid reacting impulsively, which can often lead to further setbacks. Another important component of resilience is perseverance. It's easy to quit when the path is tough, when success seems distant, or when we face repeated failures. But resilient individuals continue to push forward even when the going gets hard. They don't expect everything to go smoothly, but they persist because they are driven by a long-term vision and the belief that their efforts, no matter how small, will eventually pay off. Perseverance in the face of setbacks is not about mindlessly continuing. It's about being determined to keep going, even when the immediate rewards aren't clear. The process of developing resilience also involves self-compassion. It's important to recognize that setbacks don't define us. They are part of the journey. When things don't go as planned, being kind to ourselves and acknowledging that mistakes are part of growth helps to prevent us from becoming overly self-critical. Resilience grows when we learn to treat ourselves with the same empathy and understanding that we would extend to others facing similar challenges. This approach helps to preserve our motivation and prevents us from internalizing failure as something personal or permanent. Building resilience also requires flexibility. It's easy to become fixated on a single approach or outcome, but setbacks often require us to pivot, adjust our strategies, and remain open to new possibilities. Resilient individuals understand that their initial plan might not work as expected, and that adaptability is a crucial part of overcoming setbacks. The ability to change course, try new methods, and remain open-minded in the face of challenges is what enables us to keep moving forward when things don't go as initially envisioned. Resilience involves faith in the process. Even when setbacks seem insurmountable or progress feels painfully slow, resilient people trust that the work they are doing is leading somewhere. They know that challenges are part of the growth process and that success doesn't come in a straight line. With this mindset, setbacks become stepping stones rather than roadblocks, and resilience is the bridge that allows us to continue, step by step, toward our goals. Resilience, therefore, is not a skill that we are simply born with. It is something that we cultivate through our experiences, our mindset, and our willingness to keep going when things get tough. It is the capacity to keep fighting, keep adapting, and keep learning, knowing that every setback is just another chapter in the ongoing story of growth and progress. Sustainability over burnout is a mindset that shifts the focus from the intensity of short-term success to the long-term health and well-being required to achieve lasting results. In a culture that often glorifies hustle, productivity, and pushing ourselves to the limit, the idea of sustainability may seem counterintuitive. It can be tempting to believe that the more we do, the more we will accomplish. But the truth is that this approach can lead to exhaustion, decreased productivity, and burnout. Burnout occurs when we push ourselves too hard without adequate rest, recovery, or balance. It's the feeling of being overwhelmed, drained, and unable to continue at the pace we've set. The cost of burnout is not just physical fatigue, but also emotional and mental depletion. When we burn out, we lose the ability to focus, the creativity that fuels progress, and the motivation that drives us. It can take days, weeks, or even months to recover from burnout, and sometimes the damage is so severe that it derails our goals altogether. On the other hand, sustainability focuses on creating a rhythm that allows us to maintain our efforts over time without exhausting our resources. It is about setting realistic goals, managing our energy, and recognizing when we need rest. Sustainability is about balance, finding the middle ground between working hard and taking the necessary breaks to recharge. Rather than pushing ourselves to the limit, sustainability encourages us to pace ourselves, make space for recovery, and create habits that prioritize our physical and mental well-being. One of the keys to sustainability is recognizing that constant work doesn't always equate to constant progress. In fact, overworking can lead to diminishing returns. When we push ourselves beyond a certain point, the quality of our work suffers, our creativity stalls, and our productivity declines. By taking regular breaks, setting boundaries, and maintaining a healthy work-life balance, we protect our ability to perform we conserve our energy and prevent the buildup of stress that can lead to burnout. Sustainability is about knowing our limits and respecting them rather than constantly testing how much we can endure. A sustainable approach also encourages self-awareness. It requires us to pay attention to our mental and emotional states, and to recognize when we are reaching a breaking point. Being aware of our stress levels, fatigue, and the signals our bodies send us can help us adjust our workload or take necessary steps to rest and recover. Sustainability isn't just about working smarter, but about creating a holistic approach to our well-being so we can continue to show up in a way that is fulfilling and productive in the long run. The power of sustainability also lies in its ability to maintain motivation over time. When we allow ourselves to rest and recover, we return to our work with a fresh perspective, renewed energy, and a greater sense of purpose. By avoiding the cycle of overwork and burnout, we can maintain our passion and enthusiasm for our goals. Sustainability allows us to preserve our drive for the long term rather than burning brightly for a short time and fizzling out. Another key element of sustainability is setting realistic expectations. We often put pressure on ourselves to achieve more, do more, and be more, but the truth is that no one can maintain a constant, high-intensity pace indefinitely. Setting achievable goals and taking measured steps toward them allows us to maintain momentum without draining our resources. Sustainability encourages us to break down big goals into manageable tasks and to celebrate small wins along the way so we can see progress without feeling overwhelmed. In relationships, sustainability is equally important. Just as we need to protect our energy in our work, we need to nurture the connections we have with others. Constantly overextending ourselves can lead to strained relationships and neglecting the people who matter most. Sustainability in our personal lives means taking the time to invest in meaningful relationships, to set boundaries, and to ensure that our connections are nurtured and not depleted. Sustainability over burnout is about creating a way of living and working that honors both our ambitions and our need for balance. It's about pacing ourselves in a way that ensures we are able to continue pursuing our dreams and goals for years to come. By embracing sustainability, we can avoid the destructive cycle of burnout and instead build a life that is fulfilling, productive, and rewarding. One that allows us to be our best selves without sacrificing our health, happiness, or well-being. Vision and purpose are powerful forces that guide us through life, offering direction, meaning, and clarity in the midst of uncertainty. They are the driving forces behind our actions, decisions, and goals, shaping who we are and who we strive to become. While vision and purpose are often linked, they are distinct in how they influence our lives. Vision represents the ideal future we aspire to create, while purpose is the deeper reason behind why we pursue that vision in the first place. A vision is like a beacon that helps us navigate through life. It is a vivid picture of what we want to achieve, where we want to be, and what we want to contribute. Our vision serves as a guiding star, providing us with a sense of direction even when the path is unclear or the road ahead is uncertain. It's the big picture, the long-term goal, and the dreams that fuel our ambition. A strong vision can inspire and motivate us, helping us to stay focused and resilient in the face of challenges. Without a vision, it's easy to become lost or aimless, drifting through life without a clear sense of where we are going. On the other hand is the deeper meaning behind our vision. It's the why that drives us, the reason we pursue our goals and dreams. While vision gives us direction, purpose gives us the motivation to take action. Our purpose connects us to something greater than ourselves. It aligns our personal values with our broader goals and gives our efforts a sense of meaning. Purpose is what helps us persevere through difficult times. It's the inner fire that keeps us moving forward when external circumstances make success seem distant or unattainable. When we are connected to our purpose, setbacks feel less discouraging, and challenges are viewed as part of the journey towards something more significant. Vision and purpose are also closely connected to our values. Our values serve as the foundation upon which our vision is built and guide the decisions we make along the way. When our vision is aligned with our values, it becomes easier to stay true to ourselves and make choices that are authentic and fulfilling. Purpose, too, is shaped by our values. It's about using our talents, skills, and experiences to make a positive impact in the world. Whether it's building a meaningful career, supporting a cause, or fostering strong relationships, our purpose is a reflection of what we believe to be most important. Having a clear vision and purpose can help us to overcome fear and doubt. Life is filled with obstacles and uncertainty, and it's natural to experience moments of self-doubt. But when we are anchored in our vision and purpose, we are more likely to take risks, push past our comfort zones, and face challenges head-on. Knowing why we are doing something and what we are working toward makes it easier to stay committed, even when the journey is difficult. Our vision gives us a sense of clarity, and our purpose gives us the resilience to keep moving forward despite setbacks. In relationships and communities, vision and purpose are equally important. A shared vision brings people together, fostering a sense of unity and collaboration. Whether it's a team working toward a common goal or a family striving for a better future, a shared vision helps align everyone's efforts in the same direction. Similarly, purpose strengthens relationships by creating a deeper connection between individuals. When people understand the purpose behind their interactions and contributions, they are more likely to work together with passion and commitment. It's important to recognize that our vision and purpose can evolve over time. As we grow, learn, and experience new things, our understanding of what we want to achieve and why we want to achieve it may shift. This evolution is a natural part of the human experience. It reflects our changing priorities, interests, and life circumstances. As our vision and purpose evolve, they continue to provide direction, but they also offer us the freedom to adapt and explore new opportunities. Vision and purpose are not static. They are dynamic forces that evolve with us as we grow. They are what inspire us to dream bigger, act with intention, and persevere through adversity. When we have a strong sense of vision and purpose, we are able to live with greater fulfillment and clarity, making choices that are aligned with our deepest values and goals. They are the bedrock of a meaningful life, helping us to navigate the complexities of the world with a sense of direction and resilience. Through vision, we see possibilities. Through purpose, we find the strength to pursue them. In conclusion, the power of vision and purpose, resilience, patience, small wins, and sustainability cannot be overstated. These elements together form the foundation of a meaningful and successful journey, one that prioritizes growth, balance, and perseverance over immediate gratification or shortcuts. By focusing on sustainability, we create the space necessary for long-term success. And by embracing resilience in the face of setbacks, we ensure that no obstacle will define us. It is in the small wins, the consistent progress, that we lay the groundwork for larger achievements, while patience gives us the strength to trust the process and stay the course. Vision and purpose ultimately provide the direction we need, reminding us that our journey is not just about the destination, but about the deeper reasons that fuel our efforts. Letting go of immediate pressure, staying focused on our true purpose, and recognizing that growth is not always linear empowers us to live with intention. We come to understand that real success is built on the sustainable choices we make, the mindset we adopt, and the resilience we cultivate along the way. Through these principles, we can move forward with confidence, knowing that every step, no matter how small, is a step towards something greater. And as we embrace these values, we shape not just our futures, but the way we experience the journey itself. One that is fulfilling, purposeful, and above all, sustainable.